Welcome to the Sunday Sit Down series. I am Eddie Ramos, and today I am joined by professional boxer of Main Events Promotions, Evan Holyfield. Evan, thank you for joining me.
Oh, yeah, thanks for having me.
So, Evan, we have the pandemic going on, crazy times. I know you've had a couple fights this year. You are now 4-0. How's everything been going since your last fight?
Everything's done, just kind of slow lately, but, you really can't complain because everything's just part of the plan, part of a plan and part of a life. So I'm just going with the flow right now, and then hopefully I get a fight coming up soon.
Yeah, for sure. So, like, any adjustments as far as your routine? I know with gyms closed and whatnot.
Oh, yeah. Of course, there's always adjustments that come with anything, especially with the pandemic that we're living in. So right now, this is almost like fewer people in the gym. So it's kind of like just pretty much just cutting out loose ends, like, people who don't necessarily need to be there, they're just not there. So a lot of people in the gym are just really just like, it's just working. You don't even see people in there, trying to work. It's not nobody extra. So that's all good with me. I feel like, that's almost kind of like, what the gym should be like anyway. People who really just want to be there. So, you just kind of take the pros and cons that come with it.
Yeah, for
Stuff like
sure.
that. But other than that, everything's good.
That's good. I'm glad to hear, and I'm glad that you're healthy. So, as far as the gym you train out of, you were born in Atlanta, and you're living in Houston, Texas now.
Oh, actually, no, I actually just moved back to Atlanta, Georgia from Houston.
Okay.
Something kind of came up with the contract and stuff. But other than that, everything's good. I'm glad to be where I'm at right now, and just glad to be getting, back to it.
Yeah, for sure. So back in Atlanta, are you changing? You changed your gym. You're working with other guys now. Kind of how's that adjustment been?
Um, it's been good. It's definitely been good. Working with the people who I'm working with right now. Um, they're the people who I started out with in the first place. So, we have a good chemistry. So, just getting back to really just learning everything and, going through the whole process of, of what's to come.
Definitely. So you started boxing full time age 12. Is that, and as you got into it, we could take it back. I actually found it very interesting. I have your book here. 12 rounds to winning for the youth. So I found this to be amazing, man. I mean, this is truly awesome, and I really like the concept. At the end of each round, the contender's corner advice will help challenge the reader to reflect on their goals and obstacles. So basically, pointing out things to help people not only, in boxing in their journey for the youth, but in their life. Talk to me about how this book came about.
Oh, well, really, my mom really helped me write it too. She was like, she had really brought up the whole idea of like, I think I was like, I'm 22 now, so I have to be like, I was like 21 or 20. But either way, I'm still young. I'm still young. So I understand, I have an understanding of the way that I came up and the way that you probably came up is probably different just by like a generational gap with everything that's going on. And I understand that, some of the distractions that are here today for me, probably weren't the same distractions that probably were there, for you or for, other adults around here. And I feel like I started to notice a lot of people could really be whatever they want, but not everybody just has the blessings of, of somebody to guide them. Sometimes only people need the knowledge and, they'll do it, but not everybody really has that, really knows that somebody's been going through the same thing they've went through or anything like that. Or, it's okay to be set back because, it's as long as you work through it. And I feel like, that was the whole purpose of me writing the whole book and everything. And my mom really helped me, see it from the different perspectives and just reminded me of all what I went through.
Definitely. As I'm reading, the first few chapters, I caught something that was pretty interesting. and I'll quote, "When you are looking to be disciplined in one area of your life, there is usually evidence in other parts of your life that will determine how successful you will be, no matter what the task. What are your habits? Are they conducive to your discipline?" Talk to us about that. I mean, that was really neat, and just reading that, and as you're sharing your story today, talk to us about how the things you share in this book you put into play in your training and your life.
Yeah, it's just kind of like just like with anything. When I really went into high school, like ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, I had really started to notice that I have other brothers and sisters, and my closest brother Elijah, he's really good at football, right? So when he started going to high school, everything that he was kind of everything he was doing in his regular life, almost besides like of course hanging out with friends, but like almost like everything that was kind of like in his regular life was really kind of like pointed towards football. And I really started like understanding like I wanted to be great at something just like anybody else wants to be great at anything. And like I started looking at other athletes, other young athletes, older athletes, and like you kind of look back to the backstory. Everybody has investments in line before they even get big. You know what I mean? So it was like almost like to the fact you can't expect to be anything successful if you never built up to that. And I understood ninth to 12th grade, it was almost like the pivotal time or the pivotal moment of the age that I was in to really start investing time into wanting to be something. You're not gonna just wake up once you like graduate high school and it's just like to become something that you want to be. I understood you have to work at it. So in ninth grade, I really decided to go all in on my boxing and stuff like that, and I understood what came with it. So my friends would be playing football, basketball, baseball. Those are all seasonal sports. So at the end of the day, they may not be able to hang out for like what, like 2 or 3 months out the year, but after that, they're always free to hang out because it's their season. But boxing, there's no season; it's all year round. So I understood, like, going through high school, I wasn't going to always be able to hang out with friends or always be able to do the things I always wanted to do. Like, I missed out on prom, homecoming, like all 4 years except for my last year. I went to prom my last year, my senior year.
Yeah.
But other than that, I was skipping that for boxing tournaments and training and stuff like that. I didn't have time to really be hanging out late nights with my friends or going to all the football games because I had, stuff to do, like as far as boxing. And I found all that conducive. But at the same time, when I was at that age, 16, 17, 15, stuff like that, it really didn't always make sense to me why I always had to sacrifice all my time. But when it came down to me, like really graduating high school and seeing where some of the other people were at and seeing where I was at myself, it really started making sense to like my sacrifices and time on why I couldn't do certain things because where I'm at now, it all played out at the end of the day. So I really kind of helped that there.
Yeah, I was reading in the book 5 a.m. workouts. You still doing that, or I mean, I'm pretty sure you are. That sounded brutal, and you started young, man. I mean,
Oh yeah, but like yeah, 5 a.m. workouts. That was the thing, but like it was just kind of that was for my schedule because I had to go to school like at like what 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock or whatever. So I was trying to get whatever time I could get into it, to put towards my craft. But now boxing's my job. So I have a little bit more time to work around the clock. So I don't have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning per se, but I still get up. I still get up early and hit the road early, with full running and strength and conditioning. But hey, not 5 o'clock no more. I'm glad to get my rest.
yeah, it definitely makes a difference. I know you were talking to Joe Rotunda and Jolene on the Joe and Joe show in regards to working at Chick-fil-A at one point. I mean, I can only imagine you factor that into, your training, you're working at Chick-fil-A, you're going to school. You got a lot going on before.
Oh yeah, that was hard. Just Chick-fil-A.
And I think you mentioned also that you realized quickly this is not what I want to do the rest of my life, let alone work a job. I'd rather make boxing my life. So that was interesting when you were talking about that to them. So Evan, you were talking about your brother. You have how many siblings? Yeah.
There's 10 of us, 11 of us total, including me. And I'm pretty sure I'm smack dab in the middle. I'm like 6 or 5, one of the two. So, you know, when you're kind of like in the middle, you don't really, you're not always the favorite, but you're not the least favorite by all. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like, you just get it how you get it. Just, blind.
Yeah, for sure. So, do most of your siblings, do they come to the fights? Or I saw your brother. I was at the fight, your third pro fight in Daytona Beach. There, I saw your brother there as well. Do most of them try to come and support, or some come? I mean, that's quite a few siblings you have. So.
Yeah. Everybody at the end of the day, everybody has their life going on. So like, I kind of inside my head, I don't really need just that I need them to come, or you know, I'm not trying to sound like an asshole while I'm trying to say this. Um, I understand everybody has a life. Like Elijah, he's a very busy person. Like I understand, like he's not gonna be able to make it to every fight or whatever. But I know he will probably want to if he could. But he's in the NFL, so he has his own thing to really like grind at too. So like all my other brothers and sisters, we're like widespread across the United States. So it's like I really don't expect anybody to really like to really be there all the time. But it's nice to see them when they can make it. But in reality, everybody kind of got their own thing going on.
Definitely. No, it's understandable. And you have a very large family, and that's great that they support you even from afar. So, Evan, as far as you've written the book, you're in your pro career now. What are some things about you that most people wouldn't know? I
mean, I don't know. I feel like I could be I'm a real cool person. Well, not to like feel like I'm a cool person, but I feel like I'm pretty cool. Um, on an average day, I really am in the boxing gym most of the day. Like just like to really like put it into like a good paint a good picture for you. I should be hanging out at the gym. That's where like I feel like most of my friends are. You know what I mean? So like if I'm not working out, I'm literally probably just like sitting at the gym, probably just chilling out, laughing with everybody. But if I'm not doing that, like I guess I like to travel um, and stuff like that. I used to skateboard and stuff, but now that I signed this contract and stuff, I can't skateboard like that no more. But you know, watch cartoons. I'm regular. I'm regular. Like I watch cartoons, watch anime, play video games. You want to get on the sticks, 2K, Madden, UFC 3. Shoot, I'm good on those games, Call of Duty and stuff like that. Just out here doing it.
yeah, I'm a little behind on the video games. I got to catch up, man. We'll have to play sometime, maybe in the future. You never know, because I know now you can play online. I mean, everybody plays anybody, anywhere, anytime, so to say.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's funny that you said that. So, what other sports? I saw in the book you talked about competing in Taekwondo for a while, and you literally got disqualified at one point, I think, and that was kind of like the end of the career there for punching the opponent too hard.
Oh yeah, almost. Yeah. I punched him in the neck on accident. So like, what happened was when you're like doing Taekwondo and you're doing like this whole sparring and stuff like that. Not sparring, but like I was competing at the time, and we was in the nationals. I guess if you're not a black belt, you can't really like hit people in the head like like almost like in boxing. In boxing you can hit somebody in the head as hard as you want, whatever. But you're not really necessarily allowed to like kick them in the head as hard as you want if you're not a black belt or whatever. So I wasn't a black belt at the time. But homeboy had caught me with a good like it was a spinning hook kick, it was to the head, so I got kind of hot, and I was like, I'm trying to even up the score, because that's how the score was, and like ran up on me a little bit too fast, and I punched him, in the face neck area, And he started crying, and like I looked back at my coach, and he looked back at me, and they like he took like 4 points away from me, and I was like, well, damn. You want to take 4 points? You know, that's just kind of trying to stop a brother. You know, at that point, I have ended up finishing it or whatever, and then he had came up again. I think I punched him in the chest this time, and he had stumbled back. And then I had really ran up on him and dropped him from like I don't know why I did it at the time, but I thought it was scoring blow. It was scoring blow, but it was way too hard. So like the boy didn't want to fight no more, and I got disqualified. And my dad was just like, if you want to hit people in the head that hard, yada yada yada, you might as well just box. And I was like, I had already boxed before, at that point. So I was like, yeah, I might as well just do that.
So
So
that was the end of the line for the Taekwondo career. No MMA, no UFC in the future, maybe one day.
Yeah, I've been looking at it, but I don't know. You don't get paid enough to get hit by everything that's not padded. Like you think about it, they pad your hands barely, but everything you get hit with has no pads. Like
That's it.
I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah, they those 4 ounce gloves don't do much. I'll tell you that. There's a big difference there between those gloves and the boxing gloves that you're using. They're, that gets pretty brutal. And then the leg kicks. I watch
Yeah,
kickboxing, Glory Kickboxing, K1. I don't know. Obviously, you've seen Adesanya in the UFC. He came from K1. He traveled the world with the kickboxing, and you see it transform into the octagon and these guys that have all these different specialties. Man, talk about five-tool players, right?
yeah. Israel Adesanya, he's probably one of my favorite fighters right now too. Besides Anderson Silva,
So within boxing, like, who would you say is your favorite fighter right now?
Manny Pacquiao for sure. Like man, Manny Pacquiao, that's my guy. Um, but like if you talk about up and comers, Shakur Stevenson, he's real sharp too. Like I mess with Shakur, and this is too many boxers out there. Like I really like the style of like a lot of boxers out there.
Yeah, so growing up, was there any, who would be your favorite? You say Pacquiao, that's one of them. Was there someone, even before Pacquiao, someone else, I guess? Or is that pretty much it?
Before Pacquiao, like I I like Floyd Mayweather, but Floyd Mayweather, he's not exciting for me. Like like if I knew he was fighting, my dad was fighting. I already knew my dad was going to buy the fight. It was regardless. I already knew he was going to buy the fight. But if it was really up to me, you know what I mean? I'd rather I would have spent $80, every Floyd Mayweather fight because like the one against Robert Guerrero, I already knew that wasn't going to be like a crazy fight. But Manny Pacquiao, I'll buy that fight, 9 times out of 10. You know what I mean? You always want to see some fireworks. You see Manny fight, but before Manny, I gotta say like Marcos Antonio Barrera, hey Eric Morales, um, even I like Chocolatito Gonzalez. That's my guy too. Man, this is too many of them. Like Tanaka, he was pretty good. He was a flyweight. So I don't know. I like watching all those things, especially when the HBO was still coming on. When they had Brandon Rios, Canelo was still coming up at that time too. There was a lot of great fights coming on there, and that's what that really got me introduced to like Tim Bradley and stuff, Jesse Vargas. There's just too many fighters to really name. I can go on forever.
Yeah, it's interesting you said, especially on HBO, all those fights. Even Kovalev, as you know, with the same promotion company as
Yeah,
yourself.
Kovalev was coming up. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. You Chocolatito, guys like Marco Antonio Barrera, that's those guys, man. Those are legends. That's really neat that you've been able to encompass all those fighters in a short period of time. That's awesome, and they cover decades. That's really cool. So, Evan, you have your relationship with your father. We know the elephant in the room. The last name's Holyfield, and how was that growing up? I mean, that's a big name to carry, a big weight. How did that feel growing up? Obviously, you're competing in other sports. Once you got into boxing,
like
you get that name.
yeah, I know what you mean. Like I'll put it into like terms like this. So if you ever watch Elijah play, every time he scores a football, they don't even call out his name. They don't say Elijah Holyfield. They're like, son of Evander Holyfield has, scored a touchdown. And think about it, he's playing football, So my dad ain't known for, putting on no pads, running the rock or nothing like that. So, I can imagine what it's like, boxing. So like whenever I box or whenever I came to an understanding quite early that these people are really trying to come to beat me, not only to try to like say like everybody wants to win, of course, but everybody wants to be the name too. Whether it was earlier in their career or if it really did matter for like like for like the Olympic team or something like that. So I understood everybody was coming to fight me. They was gonna come to fight their hardest. So like it's just kind of like the perspective of what you kind of want to take it as. Either you're just going to take it as pressure, like always just like have it in the back of your mind that you're trying to like compare yourself to your father, or you can really kind of like take into the fact of like you can really make a name for yourself out of this. And like I kind of took it in the perspective of like it kind of motivated me because I wanted to be you know everybody wants to be better than than what they expect to be as. So I always took that into training. I always took that as it's me training hard. It made me want to train hard, and I honestly felt like coming down to my career, people may think I may have it easy or something like that because they may think it's like the road is paved. But at the end of the day, when you get to the end of the road, you got to start making a name for yourself. And I start looking at these other fighters around here like Chavez Jr. You know, a lot of juniors and stuff like that. And some of them may have the name, but some of them really don't may not have the pedigree to fight. You know what I mean? And I honestly know I have the pedigree to fight. I have almost 80 amateur bouts. You know what I mean? 80 around there. So I've done pay my due on time, and it's something I really wanted to do. And the fact of I didn't start boxing because my dad boxed. I really started boxing because it made me feel the most individual to myself. Um, and that's kind of weird, really saying it, because my dad boxed, but it really made me feel individual to myself because I knew everything what I was putting in will be a straight reflection of what I can do in the ring, and I could really like paint a picture of to the point of my dad fights like this, but I fight like this. He could do this, but I could do that. You know what I mean? So that's the way I kind of really held it to me, held it to myself. Not really just trying to be like him, but just trying to be straight as him or better.
Definitely, in your relationship with your mom was highlighted in the book, and as far as building that foundation, you can really tell, and you sharing that as far as having that foundation and knowing who you are as an individual. That's so important.
Yes, sir. It really is important because if you kind of don't know who you are, people are always quick to tell you what they see and what they think you are. But it's important to know who you are to really step out because when you step out there, you got to show people, you got to speak up and really show people who you are because everybody has I'm trying to think of the word, but a preconception of who you are just based on you know on who your dad is. The way my dad may be is not the way I am. You know what I mean? We may be similar in like looks, but at the end of the day, we are separate people. You know what I mean? Like just because he came up and he knew how to fight this way, I wasn't taught that way. I was taught a different way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's kind of yeah, it's like that. So you know,
definitely, and that's it's great that you share as far as that having that foundation. Um, so you were talking about you going back a little bit earlier. You're talking about your traveling. You like to travel in your free time. When you were an amateur, did you guys go outside of the states?
oh yeah, I feel like that's what gave me the most experience, really leading up to where I'm at right now. So like when I first started boxing 15, 16, I went to the ringside. That was in like in Kansas or whatever. And that was my first like tournament really like outside the states. But I was still novice at the time. pretty sure. I think I had like 8 or 9 fights or whatever. But so like the ringside tournament really wasn't. No, I think I was just turning open. I think I was at 11 fights. Yeah, I was just turning open. So like that was my first time really seeing like a full bracket. So like there was like a good like 50 people in that bracket and whatnot. So it was my first time seeing that. But like after that, I came back after that tournament, and it really kind of like opened up my mind to really like okay, there's really more than what more than Georgia in there. It's something like it's kind of like big fish, small pond. When you go out there, you see everything that was out there. I've seen people from around the world there because Ringside was such a big tournament. And then when I came back like a couple of years later, I ended up switching gyms to where the gym I'm at now, and the coach there has relationships with a lot of people like, all around the United States. But really, what he had shown me was, you know, each region almost has like a different type of style in a sense. So like down here in Georgia, you may not see too much style, too much of different styles. But if you go up to New York, it's a whole entire different style. You know what I mean? You go over down to like Cincinnati, or you go down to Tampa, Florida. Florida and New York and Cleveland, they all got like different styles, and then you go over to the West Coast, and they're fighting different. Then you're fighting people from Texas, and they're like fighting different, and then like you get to experience all that in tournaments and stuff like that. Because I started fighting way more tournaments when I started going to the gym where I was at. But when I started seeing all those different styles and stuff, when it came down to going to the nationals and the qualifiers and stuff, and I was seeing some of those different states like Cincinnati, I'd be lined up against Cincinnati, DC, or California or something like that, or Detroit. It didn't come to me as a shock of like, oh, I've never fought somebody, from this place or wherever like that. You know what I mean? Like, because you'll hear about some of the stories coming to the tournament, like, oh yeah, DC's real good. New York, they have nothing but good fighters. But like once you like start to get like you got that experience and you're able to like draw from those experiences, it's almost like a confidence thing. It's kind of like, well, these people are regular. They put on the clothes just like me. You know what I mean? So it's you don't feed into that. So I fought all around the United States, and I feel like that really helped me because at the end of the day, everybody's regular, and it's just all about the work you put in over the other person. What are you doing when they're hanging out with their friends? You know what I mean? Like you wake up early to go do you stay consistent to what you do. You don't peep into the other lane. As long as you focus on yourself and you're still keep doing you, that's the most you can do. Really, and believe in yourself.
So, as far as all those experiences, you know, in moving into your pro career, you get to that point. You made your pro debut on the Canelo Kovalev undercard in Vegas, MGM Grand. I want to say that's a huge card, man. How was that experience?
Oh yeah, and that was pretty wild because I had been to the MGM Grand a couple times prior to then to watch like other fights and stuff like that. Like I had been to a couple Canelo fights, and he fought like Cotto and stuff like that. Devontae Wilder when he fought Romain Severin, and it's even kind of weird, kind of like playing the video games because when you play the video games, when they ask you what venue you want to fight in, I always put MGM Grand. But it was just kind of surreal, just really coming out the tunnel, being backstage, like inside the dressing rooms and stuff, and really it's just like I talked about like watching HBO boxing. Like I used to watch Canelo, come up, fight on the cards, Canelo versus Kirkland and stuff like that. And I used to like really like watch that. Like really, that used to be like my thing on like Saturdays. I'd come home, have it already recorded. If I missed it, I had it recorded and stuff like that. But it was actually different to actually be working alongside all those names that I was really like watching coming up. Like Sergey Kovalev, and Canelo and Ryan Garcia, I was right next to them. So it's like, at one point, all of this felt like almost like a dream, or something you could really imagine. But it was really something so tangible, and I was right there, and it really helped me like look back to like everything, everything I had done coming up to that point. It's like, when I had really I had came out the tunnel and everything, everything was just like, it almost seemed like it wasn't real. But when I got into the actual ring and I heard them calling my name and stuff like that, it was like almost like a moment of like, oh yeah, this is really happening. Then I looked out the ring and I seen everybody outside the ring, and then like a thought came to my head, and I was like, nah, how did I end up inside the ring? Like I'm their entertainment now, you know what I mean? And I was like, how did I end up being their entertainment? And like I kind of thought about like everything I've done coming to the point, like working inside Chick-fil-A, being inside class. I didn't like class like that, school. Like being inside school and like think about all the things I really didn't like, really working for other people, taking out the trash and stuff. And I was like, this is what brought me to this moment, and I wouldn't trade it off to go back to any of that stuff. And it's really like, just really just took the time to really just enjoy it. Like, let me just be the best I can be.
Now, like moving forward with no fans, how would that like? Does that take away from that perspective, walking out with fans and kind of everything fast forwarding to that moment? Like, how do you think you'd feel if that's gonna? Would you be able to fight with no fans in the future? Or is that something that's like,
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know
I
how it'd
definitely
feel?
do it to fight with no fans. I do it to fight with no fans because like I feel like at the end of the day, you just got to be able to like it's going to be something you can really look back and draw on. You know what I mean? Like not every professional boxer can really turn around and say, "Oh yeah, I remember when I fought and there was no fans there." Like like you're literally a part of history. You know, all these fighters are a part of history. So why not? It takes doing something different to to go to the next level sometimes. Or to even have a story. So I'm all down for it and stuff like that. I feel like it'd be something actually pretty interesting for any fighter to have to fight with no fans. Because I feel like at the end of the day, you're in the gym, nobody's there, all the time. You don't really necessarily need somebody, inside your ear pushing you the whole way. So let's see how some of these fighters are pushing themselves in the ring. You know, mano a mano.
Yeah, it's interesting as far as that perspective. You literally say, I look at it. It's like more of a positive thing for you, the focus instead of being like, oh, no fans. I'm actually I'm going to be more focused energy on what I'm doing and what's in front of me, so to say. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I understand the fans is how you get paid at the end of the day, but there's nothing wrong with trying something new. Like I'm telling you, every boxer can't say they fight inside an arena, no fans. Like it's something really to draw on.
so you're sitting at 4-0. What are some of your short-term goals right now, and then some long-term goals for your career, Evan?
Like I can honestly say some of my goals I got kind of like shifted up, jumbled up since like this whole Corona thing. Like I know, like, but I could tell you for one of my goals that that's kind of new. So I didn't know they had a top 25 under 25 type thing. You know what I mean? So like now one of my new goals to be one of the top 25 under 25 and 22. So I still got 3 years to make that list. So that's I already know what comes with that. That just comes with being an exciting fighter. Showcasing winning and just keep doing what you got to do. But as far as that, I want to be. My whole long term goal is I went to the Boxing Hall of Fame before when my dad got inducted probably a couple of years ago, and that was my first time going. And I got to meet like all the boxers like Marvin Hagler and stuff like that. But really, the most thing that really stood out to me was when I actually went to the actual Hall of Fame. I had noticed there's no juniors have ever made the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? Not like talk about like Floyd Mayweather Jr. or nothing like that, but like you don't see senior and Floyd Mayweather Senior in the Hall of Fame and then Junior coming in right after him. You know what I mean? To really have like a tandem inside the Hall of Fame. And I think that that's really something I really wanted to work on because people often want to think just because the dad made it and she supposedly made it easier on the son so the son can't make it or whatever. But I really wanted to be like, I really want to be as great as my dad or greater if God allows. And I understand, in the Bible it also says, each generation gets better. So like, why can't I be there? The only person that's really can like, really hinder the road of me becoming better or greater to really only be myself, especially if my dad, has seen some of those holes and he could really let me he could really let me know what to do, what not to do, or just give me some advice on, just things not to do. Sometimes that just makes a difference. So um that's really one of my long term goals, just making it to the Hall of Fame. So I understood. I really understood what it meant to be and to really come to that level, and really just talking to some of the other fighters up there and stuff like that, and really just looking around. It's like a different type of I don't know, like it felt weird, like a different type of respect, like that you really want. So I really,
Yeah, as far as
I really like that.
the Hall of Fame, I actually used to live like an hour from there, and I'm kind of jealous of you.
Minnesota?
Yeah, I used to live in upstate New York, so man, I was in Rochester about an hour and change away from there, and I knew yet to go. And I lived up there for 20 plus years, and I never went to the Boxing Hall of Fame. So that's truly something I want to do. I gotta get there, man. Definitely ASAP. So I know it's actually
Oh, that's nice up there too.
yeah, it's a pretty small town. I definitely want to check it out. And then you have the casino not far from there, and they do some shows. Actually, Triple G made his American debut at in Verona, New York, which is not far from there. A lot of people don't know that. When his first fight here in America, he actually fought not far from the Boxing Hall of Fame. Um, now,
That's crazy.
yeah, you wouldn't think that, right? In the middle of nowhere, almost up there. A lot of people forget about that part of New York State.
Yeah.
Um, as far as the Hall of Fame, and you mentioning no juniors making it, yeah, I can't think off the top of my head. I don't. That's an interesting goal. I don't think there's any juniors that ever made the Hall of Fame, father son combination. Now you're in Atlanta. What is the next move for Evan Holyfield?
Right now, that's really what's now in the talks for what's coming up. Hopefully, I can get a fight in the next month or so. If not, main events has other things going. I'm sure they do. And so really, it's just kind of like the waiting game. It's just we're waiting to see if some of this stuff is concrete or not. So that's all that's really to it. But I'm definitely in shape, and right now I'm on weight, so it's
You're,
whenever.
you're ready to go. You're ready to go. I was asking because I want you to come to Florida. I need your autograph, man. We got to get this book out there and get more people to know about it. 12 Rounds to Winning for the Youth, a book written by Evan and his father. Truly should be commended for this. And a lot more people need to know about this. The thing that you have a pedestal and you're really utilizing that pedestal in a positive way. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
So, Evan, we appreciate your time. I really thank you for joining me today and sharing your story inside and outside of the ring. And I look forward to seeing you back in action, quite hopefully here in the very near future.
Oh yeah, I'm praying the really near future too, because I understand you don't got to talk about boxing when you're doing it. So
from Team La Perla Boxing and MMA, if you ever want to come to Puerto Rico, the gym's open for you, man. It's in San Juan, so just let me know. It's an open door policy we have, and I look forward to seeing you hopefully fight down here in Florida again.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I already know. And Florida's, hey, y'all a fight town, so yeah, I probably will be down there fighting.
Yeah, and like I say,
I can, definitely can ride out Florida.
Okay, I look forward to that, man. We'll have you in the studio, and we'll get you to sign this book. And whatever you want to come to Puerto Rico as well, you're always welcome at the gym in San Juan. So, again, I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining me on the Sunday Sit Down series. And take care, Evan.
All right, thank you. You too. Stay healthy.
All right. Thanks, brother. Take care.